Welcome back, everybody, to the Frequency of Fatherhood Summit. I am lucky to have a great guest here today, Chris Rodack from Rising Fathers. Chris, thank you so much for being here, brother. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get going into the questions?
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I've never done a virtual summit before, so we'll see what happens, but happy to be here. Yeah, I'm Chris Rodack. I run the brand, the community, the coaching program, Rising Father. So I was a middle school band director until last year. So I was working, 9 to 5 and building a brand, building a company while I was doing that. And there's a whole long story I could go into about how that was built and all that kind of stuff. But I run Rising Father. And what Rising Father is all about, it's about us men becoming the absolute best husbands and fathers we can be. And I consider my purpose right now is to help fathers understand the impact that they have right now while their kids are living with them. And that's what I try to convey with my messaging, with my content, with anything you read or see from me, and with my program.
You started it about a year ago, you said. So since that time, how has that influenced your relationships with your friends and your family dynamic now being an entrepreneur and having your own community?
If you talk to my wife, she would say I'm very different, and that in a good way, good because with my program that we have, we've got like daily checklists and we have things that we do every single day. The focus is being intentional. And I talk a lot about, the compounding effect of watching what you're doing every single day as a husband and father, as a man. It's like going to the gym every single day for 365 days. If you do that, what will you look like a year from now? Same thing. How about what if every single day you had this fatherhood checklist you did, or you did one thing for your kid every single day? What would your relationship look like 12 months from now? What would your kid look like? So, for example, one of the things that I do with my kids is right before they go to sleep with each kid, I do an identity building exercise with them. So I talk to my daughter, I'll say, what did you do today that proves you are strong? What did you do today that proves you are smart? What did you do today that shows you're friendly? And we go to that, and then they go to sleep. And we also, before they go to sleep, we say, what are you going to do tomorrow to do the same things? So if you think about her thinking about those things every single day for 12 months, what is the effect of that a year from now? Well, man, she's gonna have all these memories of herself being strong, smart, friendly. And the same thing happens with my wife. If I'm trying to be an intentional person every single day and be the best husband I can be, best father I can be every single day, and I'm thinking, all right, what did I do today that I don't like? What did I do today that I want to encourage and grow? And then I continue those things. If I continue that line of thinking every single day, man, a year from now, I'll just be a completely different person. So if you talk to my wife, she would say, I am much more patient. She would say, I'm much more chill. My kids say I'm a lot more chill. There was we were at a Bravo, some Italian restaurant, like 2 weeks ago, and one of the waitresses poured my boiling cup of tea water onto my lap. I used to drink Diet Coke. I don't drink Diet Pop anymore. So I used to order tea when I'm at restaurants now. So she poured the water on my lap, and it was hot. It was boiling. And my son said, after she left, because I was nice to her, my goal for that moment was, okay, I got to show my kids like how to handle this kind of situation. Like, should I fly off the handle? Should I lose my shit? Should my emotions take the best of me? I was like, no, this is a good teachable moment. I can suffer a little bit. So I was just chill. I made sure the lady was fine. And my son said, man, Dad, you're a lot more chill than you used to be. Like you're much more, he's like, he's and that's his words, like, you're much more chill than you used to be. I was like, okay, good. Big win for me. So I just think purely by thinking about these kind of things every single day and talking to guys 24/7 about how to be the best man you can be, how to be the best father, how to be the best husband. Those thoughts just fill my head all the time. And then I start to say those things and I start to do those things. And then your family gets to benefit.
All of that. Uh, I feel the same thing because when it's repetition and you start learning these new words in fatherhood, because when I first had my son, I didn't know any of these terms of, you know, gratitude for my kids and reflection with my kids, emotional intelligence, emotional literacy, um, the awareness I have to have with my kids, just being intentional. You hear all these words that people throw out there, and it just never hit me until I was doing the same thing, repeating it over and over, listening to other men talk about it. And then when it started happening and creeping in my head, I was able to start using those tools myself. So I absolutely understand what you said there at the end, is that, just being in a community with like-minded men who are trying to achieve greatness with their families, it rubs off on us. And to go back what you first were talking about, with building relationships with your kids, I feel like that's something that we're always constantly doing, is building relationships with our kids, building relationships with our wives. Like, we're not always just staying at this happy level of content, right? We're always trying to improve. So do you put a lot of effort in to realizing your relationships are growing and making sure that they are growing?
Yes, every single day. And like I have a list in my journal. I journal every day. And one of the things, I just keep a running list. It's titled Things I Want to Cut Out. So it's just behaviors. It could be little things. It could be phrases. It could be tones of voice. It could be the way I talk, like sarcastic remarks I make. If my son says something that annoys me, how I respond to him, the tone of my voice, how I'm looking to him, like these little things that we do 100 times a day that once again compound and rub off on them and give them a memory of who we are. I have a list of things I want to stop doing, and then also I have a list of things I want to grow and continue doing. It's like, oh, I did this and this made my wife feel special. I did this and this made my daughter smile. So okay, so keep on doing those things. And every day I try to add one or two things to both categories so that I can make sure that, a decade doesn't go by. I said, oh, I should have been doing that. Like you never know when the last time you're going to stop reading your daughter a story before bedtime. Like you don't know that the last time is going to be, or the last time you do any of these things. But if you're intentional about it and you write it down and you think, all right, I work so hard on my business. I have a business plan. I have a plan, strategies to be, to make more sales, to make more money. I have a strategy to get fit, to eat healthy. Do I have a strategy to be a better father? Do I have a strategy to be a better husband? No. Why not? Aren't those things extremely important? If they are, then let's be intentional about it. Because whenever, for me, in my mindset is whenever my kids are gone, and say even the worst happens, say my wife dies before me, and say I'm 80 years old, just living alone in a quiet, clean house, and I look back, what am I going to value the most? It's not going to be like, oh, I'm glad I made those 10 sales. It's going to be, no, those moments, those pictures, those videos I have with my kids. It's knowing that I was present and intentional with them. So yeah, I try to think of the end, looking back on today and say, yeah, today I would give anything to live again 20 years from now. So let's make the most of it.
Yeah, that perspective is definitely needed too. I think a lot of men need to start changing their perspective overall. And I love the way that you do that, from looking at the older age and working backwards. And that's how we are in life. Like you were saying, with our business, you strategize out so long, right? And then you work your way back. And the same thing in the military, we did the exact same thing. It's backwards planning, right? Backwards planning and making sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's. What you did say there, I love about, I'm going to give you a different analogy how we use it a lot, or I use it, I should say, specifically, how fatherhood's like sports. You don't see teams out there that don't practice. So why aren't we prioritizing fatherhood as like a sport, right? You need to put in practice and get in the game. Just get involved. And a lot of times men are just not practicing. And fatherhood takes a lot of practice. I mean, we just were talking about that, how just hearing other men speak on different levels helps create positive habits within myself. So I need to practice those. I need to read books on them. I need to always level up in my fatherhood. And that's how I feel, So what that takes for me a lot of times is awareness and reflection. So what I want to ask you here is, how important is it for fathers to have awareness in their fathering skills and reflection time to realize where they were maybe, or where they want to get?
Yeah, I think journaling is one of the most important things you can do. And you can find out all these things through journaling. And we just talked about this on our call yesterday. I told the guys, is that I journal to find out what I'm thinking. Like I write down words so I know what words are going on in my head. And through that, you can find out, okay, these are the things that I'm feeling I'm great at or I'm deficient at being a husband, being a father. And a lot of times you just kind of feel a certain way and you can't really describe it, or you have a lot of noise in your head. You just have words. You can't really put it down. But whenever you start to journal and just maybe just fill up 2 pages of words and things that don't make sense, and then you gradually narrow it down, narrow it down, narrow it down. Do you have a paragraph and a couple sentences? Then you can really understand what you were feeling and thinking about a certain subject. And do that with your role as a husband and a father. Write down, okay, today I talked to my son when he was upset. I didn't feel really good about it. I didn't feel great about that. I don't think I handled that right. I kind of flew off the handle. What could I have done better? Like, what caused me to be in that state? Was it me? Most of the time it's just us, right? Just something that we didn't do. It's a lot of times that we're not happy with ourselves, so we end up taking it out on our wife or our kids. Okay, then what do I need to fix about me to show up better? But yeah, if you are completely unaware of and you're not analyzing your job and how you're showing up to your family, like, you are not taking stock of the most important part of your life right now. Because maybe 20 years from now, you look back on this time and say, oops, man, I really wish I would have spent more time with my son. I really wish I would have gone on more dates with my wife. It's great to have that realization, but you're in that time right now. Do everything you can right now to make sure that you don't have all that regret looking back. And to do that, you have to be aware. If you just think, yeah, man, I'm crushing it 24/7 at everything, as a husband, as a father, fitness, business, nothing, man. I'm going on autopilot. There's nothing I need to fix. Okay. No one is. Like, the best, most successful people I know are all very, very aware of their deficiencies. And they're all very aware of how they need to step it up. They're very self-critical, and they know every single day they're thinking, how can I be better? How can I be better? And you have a son, you have a daughter there who are looking at you like you're a Superman. Like, everything you say and do is just 10 times more important to them. So yeah, if you're just having a bad day, you're tired, you have no energy, you come home from work and your son wants to run around and play with you, and you snap and say and get frustrated and fly off the handle at him because maybe he's being a little annoying because he wants your attention, and you think, and you're over it in 1 minute, and then for him, he lives with that thing for the next week. That means that every single thing you say and do has extreme importance. Like, every single thing. They're looking up to you like a god. So you have to say, okay, well, if that's the truth, if that's the case, then I need to make sure that everything I say and do is under control. So you have to analyze yourself. You have to be aware.
Yeah, I agree with you. That consciousness is very, very important, to sit there and understand that every word that you're going to say is listened to perfectly by those kids. My son's 3 years old, and he'll mimic me so fast and have the exact same verbiage. I'm like, man, I didn't even know I said that. So it just forces me to be a lot more conscious with my words. So I love that you said that. And I want to throw in one more thing on this. I'm reflecting because I do think it's really, really important. And I love journaling also. I have 2 journals right here next to me. I never know where I'm going to write.
Yeah, the same way.
Journaling, there's many ways to do it, right? I'm not going to go deep on that. But journaling for me absolutely helped me refine my purpose. And doing so, it's realigned me. And I feel like it's a universal momentum's taken off for me. And how important is it for men, or is it not important for men, to find a sense of purpose for their lives?
I think you should seek purpose, but I don't think not having purpose should stop you from taking action. So a lot of times you'll say, well, I'm not going to start this business because it's not my purpose right now. And then you'll just sit around for 3 years twiddling your thumbs until you feel like something is aligned with your purpose. I think it is important to have a purpose and to have fulfillment. But also you can also overanalyze it, and you can say, well, because I don't feel a certain way, I am not going to do this thing. In reality, that's the opposite of what we're going to do. Like, is your purpose a feeling, or is your purpose a vision you have for yourself and your family? Is your purpose that, You want your family to be financially free. You want them to be great citizens. You want them to be caring, loving people. And you want to be a leader. Does it involve your business? Like, what is it? Okay, well, if it's that, then you don't have to feel a certain way to get there. You just need to do the things it takes to get there, despite what you're feeling. Like, is your purpose aligned? And I posted about that this morning. I said, does your purpose change when your feelings change? Like, if you give yourself a vision or a goal, whenever you're happy and motivated, does it change in the morning when it's cold and rainy, like it is in Pittsburgh today, and it just sucks outside? Like, is it different? So if you're going to have a purpose, it needs to be something that you say, all right, no matter what I'm feeling, no matter how crappy it is, I'm going to stick to it and I'm going to do it. It's more of it can be a job, be something you just do. It's not like my purpose is this thing that feels good all the time. It's like, no, if my purpose is to help fathers realize their impact, then I got to have some hard conversations. I got to sit through some tears. I have to make calls when I don't want to. I got to wake up early and do the work. Like, it needs to be a big thing. But I would say the main message on the purpose is don't sit around not taking action while you're waiting for it.
Yeah, and I agree again. And I do believe what you said there in that first sentence, action is one of the most important things. Men out there, I mean, first thing, take action. Don't be scared to take action. Don't sit back, as Chris is saying, and sit on your hands waiting for the perfect time. Sometimes you just need to take action and let the planning come after. You mentioned one thing there about if you're stuck in a rut and just allowing yourself to sit back and say, oh, I'm waiting for my purpose. Or if you're in your purpose and it hits a hard time and you're just saying, you know what, this maybe isn't my purpose. It shows like how important is consistency here. Because as a father, we need to be consistent. One, like you were already talking about, how we speak to our kids, how we show up for our children, but how we show up for ourselves, how we take care of ourselves. And the consistency, when you start doing that and you stack those wins and you build momentum, how important is that for fathers to understand that they need to be consistent in almost everything that we do, how we treat mom, how we're showing love.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of this because I used to not be consistent at anything. I used to do things to feel a certain way, so I would do things. And we can still get caught into that in terms of routines. And I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. and jump in a frozen river, so I'm motivated to do my day. It's like, yeah, okay, if you need that to do your day, then you haven't made it yet, right? You're still relying on this flash in the pan sense of dopamine to do the things you have to do. The thing that guys are afraid of is just that boring, consistent work that you have to do every single day, despite being motivated or not. Like, and everyone says that, it doesn't come from me, but despite inspiration, despite motivation, doing the boring, consistent work that aligns with your purpose. So we can tie it back to that. So aligns with what you want to do with yourself in your life. So is your goal to be financially free? Is your goal to build a business? A lot of guys in my group are trying to build businesses. So if that's your goal, then guess what? You need to dedicate time every single day to do it, no matter whether you have an idea, no matter whether you're feeling motivated or inspired. It doesn't matter. You need to sit down, time block, and get your ass in the chair and do the work. Doesn't matter. And what I would used to do is I would say, all right, I'm not feeling very inspired to do this business work, so I'm going to go do this thing. So I'm going to go run 10 miles today, so I feel inspired, so I can then I'll have an awesome day. It's like, okay, if that's what I need, then I have a lot of work to do. Okay. And you still go do the 10 miles, do your routines, do everything. We do that a lot. We know I wake up early, I work out, I have a routine, and it helps me. It's a tool to build me. But I should still be able to show up as the husband and father I am, even if I have to miss my routine that day. If I don't go to the gym, does that mean I'm going to be a bad husband and father? If I don't get to take a cold shower, does that mean I'm not going to have power in my voice and I'm not going to inspire people? Do I rely on those things? Or have I done the consistent work? Is that my identity now? And that's the difference. But yeah, being a good father takes consistency, it takes strategy, and it takes practice. You don't just wake up inspired and loving all the time. Sometimes you wake up in a horrible mood, depressed, full of fear and doubt. And you're thinking, my business is going to fail. Nothing's going to work out. I'm a piece of crap. And then your son comes in and you have to greet him with a smile and a hug. But you have to do that every single day. That's where just doing something simple like just a checklist. Just, hey, I want to make sure I do these things. I want to make sure I do these things every single day so that I don't miss out on time. And I'm willing to put in the extra work right now because 18 years are going to go by in a flash. I've got a guy in my program. His daughter's about to walk down the graduation aisle in 3 months. And, he's like, guys, everyone says it, but I have these regrets. I wish I would have been more intentional. It's going to go by. And we've got guys they had a kid last month, and same thing. It's like 18 years are going to go by in a flash. Be intentional. Today matters.
Yeah, you don't want to get to the end of the road and have any regrets. And I truly, truly believe that we have this life one time, right? So it's like we need to put in the work, and it does go by fast. Every single person talks about it. So I agree 100% with consistency. And what you're saying there a little bit was about being our biggest critic, and how often is that, we are our biggest critic. And I also believe because we are our biggest critic, at least I am. I think a lot of motivated men really are. And the guys who come into our communities, you see this is a common trait where we're always pushing ourselves, right? A lot of times, or getting there. And I think that's why community is pretty important for most men to be in, so we can bounce these ideas off each other, just talk them through. Why would you say community is really, really important for fathers specifically to be in?
I mean, guys used to always do this. Guys used to always tribe up. Back in the Roman times, Roman soldiers, like that was their most powerful formation, was getting in a group, was they would support each other. Like guys need to tribe up and support each other. You don't get bonus points for going alone. You do not get bonus points for going on your journey alone. And just so you could tell someone, I did it by myself. You get nothing for that. The only thing you get is your family suffers with a lesser version of you while you take longer to get to your end goal. So you could say, well, I need to go on this fitness journey because I'm fat, I'm sloppy, I'm overweight, and I have no energy. My family deserves to have an energetic, passionate, strong father. So, well, I need to do this on my own. And it takes you 4 years. Okay. Or you join someone's program and it takes you 6 months and in your best shape of your life, and you inspire a bunch of people along the way. Like, you don't get bonus points for doing that. And there's this niche in the fatherhood community where, some guy will share a meme of like a lion with like his eyes are red and he's like bleeding. He's like, I did this alone. I don't need anyone. It's like, no, rely on your other men and to help build you up. Because here's what happens. You're going to find yourself in a situation where you used to fail before. You're going to find yourself in a situation on your journey where in the past you've kind of reached your threshold and you've given up and you need help. And if I know for me, can be a naturally pessimistic, judgmental person on myself. And I can bring myself down. Like I can tear myself apart. And if I only had me to rely on, if I was the only voice I heard, then I'd just be spiraling downward. Or you can surround yourself with other high-level guys who are where you want to be, who are aligned with you, who are going in the same direction, and can reach their hand down into the pit where you are and say, no, I've been there before. Come with me. I can show you the path. I've done it before. Like I can show you the way. And then all of a sudden, before you had a failure and you were out for 2 months, now it's just like one day because a guy says, no, it's not that big of a deal. Just bounce back. So just having that quick rebound, the quick bounce back after these failures that used to derail you forever, it's an extremely powerful thing. And being aligned with guys who think like you, who went all in, who invested, and who want to be part of a community, like that is a powerful thing. And if it has to be virtual, make it virtual. It doesn't matter to me. Like we have guys all around the world with us. Like it doesn't matter. You just need to be surrounded by people who are uplifting you so that whenever you have those down moments, it's a quick rebound.
I agree. I will 100% agree. It's even for myself, right? And I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, even though we run communities, they uplift us so much and help my own resilience to bounce back. And a lot of times I'm like, hey, guys, thank you. And it's so easy for me to learn so much more from all these other guys without going through the hardships myself. And I mean, there's two ways to learn, right? The hard way by yourself. And let's get it straight. Like you kind of were alluding to it. The lone wolf mentality is gone. It's not cool to be a lone wolf. And the other way is to learn from other men's lessons. And that's a really powerful tool that a lot of men, I don't know if it's their pride or what it is, ego, but they're not allowing other men to teach them. And I agree. Everything you said about community there is absolutely spot on. I have one last question that I ask all of the guest speakers here, Chris, and it's what is something that you overcame in fatherhood? One of the biggest challenges in fatherhood that you've overcome.
I would say it would be my physical. No, that's a lie. The physical is a symptom of it, or a cause. The chicken or the egg, you don't know. I would say I got. I was running my life via emotion. Okay, and that kind of affected my family, affected my kids. So, part of that was tied into being out of shape and not taking care of myself. So I used to be in great shape when I was had my first job after college. I did P90X. It sold beach body workout. So I got shredded with that. And then I got married. And for like a decade, I just went up and down in my weight. And during my worst times, I would realize that, hey man, I'm kind of snapping on my family a little bit. Like I'm losing patience. I'm irritated at my wife. My kids are talking to me and I'm not present. I'm thinking about other things. And all of this inner chaos came down to me not loving myself as a person, came down to me not respecting myself, came down to me knowing that I could be more and seeing that I wasn't. And just that disparity, that chasm that caused within me was just always in my head. It was just, you can be more, you're not. Or you'd go to a family party and be like, all right, it's time to get your shit together. But I'd find myself drinking a beer and eating cake and be like, you shouldn't be doing that. Just always in my head of like, I know I should be doing this and I'm not. And when that's happening, like I said, you're much less patient, you're much less present, you're much less loving with your family. And I would go on that roller coaster of emotions of trying to find things that would make me feel a certain way so that I could be a better husband, be a better father. When it came down to it, all I had to do was work harder. That's it. There wasn't like a pill I could take or a strategy or a course or anything like that. It was no, I needed to get less sleep. I needed to wake up earlier. I needed to go to the gym. I needed to not drink, not eat the things that I wanted to eat. It was by pushing myself harder that I was able to become the kind of person that I actually respected. And then when I did that, I started showing up much, much better as a better husband, as a better father, and just better man all around. And then like with the boiling water thing, whenever situations come that kind of cause chaos, I try to be the lighthouse. We talk about that a lot in my program, is being the lighthouse for our family. It doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter how big a storm is coming, how dark it is, how windy it is. Doesn't matter what happens in the world. I'm immovable. I'm lighting the way. I'm warm. My family can rely on me, and that's my goal. But that's been massive for me over the past years.
Well, I'm glad you broke through because you're helping a lot of men, Chris, right now, and it's a great journey that you've been on. And men, it's doable. I mean, you're hearing it right here. It is doable. You guys can all do it. Chris, thank you so much for being here and being a guest in the summit. Or what's the best way for people to reach you or join your community?
So Instagram is the best way to reach me. I don't check my email that much. I still have PTSD from my teacher days and email. So just reach out to me on Instagram, send me a direct message. And that's the best way. It's just at Rising Father. And like I said, we have a coaching program. That's kind of like what I'm offering right now. It's not really a fitness program. Fitness is a huge part of it. I feel like that's the core of everything that we try to do. But I mean, if you're looking for just a fitness program and macros and nutrition, this isn't it for you. I modeled my program after my own journey and transformation and things that are important to me. That's fitness, it's family, it's focus, it's freedom, creating freedom for yourself. And so if you're looking for a whole body, whole mind, kind of whole man transformation type of program, then you could hit me up on Instagram.
Awesome. I appreciate your time for being here. Guys, go check out Rising Father. Go like his page, share his page. He has amazing content, guys. And Chris, thank you again for being here. I appreciate this talk, man.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
Take care, man. Bye.